Hey everybody, Blugoblin here. Thank you for joining me for my comic book review for this week in June 2013. I apologize for being a bit late. I had a really busy weekend. Wasn't work busy. I spent the weekend with my girlfriend, and I wasn't able to finish reading my books until Sunday. So that's why this review is a little bit late. Go check out my main channel, Blugoblin01, and check out my last 3 Midtown Comics Stash episodes in which I reviewed books from Dynamite, Image, IDW, and from Marvel and DC. Right now, for my main review for this particular week in comics, I got just Marvel and DC. I'm going to start with Marvel and end with DC. Alright? And as you all know, my student, TheMtVernonKid, one of my best friends in the world. Go check out any of his channels. In fact, all of his channels. And don't forget about the guys at Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. Alright, we're starting off Marvel with Astonishing X-Men number 63. Just get a load of that cover. That cover is bitchin'. Just bitchin'. I want to be Iceman right now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that is too cool. Alright. Marjorie Liu is still on the writing, and Gabriel Hernandez Walta is the artist, and probably butchered that name, oh well. But the cover alone is just damn awesome. But let's talk about the story in here. Now, I didn't read Extermination, nor did I care to, but from what I understand, something happened to Iceman, at the conclusion of that story. I don't know what happened to him, and if you wouldn't mind, please let me know in the comments below what the hell happened to Bobby, because he's going crazy in here. I mean batshit crazy. And not to mention he's having to deal with all of his exes. It's just a tremendous. And yes, Mystique is one of his exes. Back when Mystique used to be on the X-Men during the Supernovas run, a few years ago. But and during that time, her and Bobby were lovers, and poor Bobby got screwed. No pun intended. But it's really, really nice to see all these characters coming back together and everything. But the main focus of the story is Iceman, and we learn more about his past. You know, the fact that he had a racist father and everything. Of course, he's a mutant, so it doesn't really surprise me. I mean, how his mother in one of the X-Men movies said, "Could you try not being a mutant?" Whatever. It's like you almost want to sympathize for Bobby early in the story, you know, because he's going through some tough stuff in here. But the further you go along, you start to realize that shit's brewing. And the further we get into the story, I'm starting to think to myself, is Bobby flipping? Is Marvel actually going to flip him heel. And, make him a bad guy. It's a pro wrestling term, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. But, oh my God, the ending. I don't even want to give a clue of the cliffhanger. Oh my God. Where the hell are they going from here? Marjorie Liu, I gotta give you props. You did a great job with this. You sure as hell piqued my interest for the next issue. Jesus, I can't get enough of what I saw in that cliffhanger. Alright, moving on. Guardians of the Galaxy, issue number 3. Yeah. Good old Rocket. I love that cover. Yeah, I know it's another one of those homage tributes to the classic Wolverine cover. But this is Rocket Raccoon by Steve McNiven. Steve McNiven! Awesome! Okay, Bendis, your writing on this is awesome. I love it. It's great. Astounding. Fantastic. I love it. And on the artwork we got Steve McNiven and Sarah Pichelli. You want to talk about a great duo of artists on a good book. We're only 3, well technically 4, but this is the 3rd issue. So not counting the 0.1 issue, not counting that, we're 3 issues in and I'm still just loving this stuff. And if I could review this book in 3 words, it would be, I am Groot. And that would all I would have to say. But I have to talk about this. I mean, yeah, Groot comes back. I'll go ahead and spoil that. But I just love what he does in here. And the fact that all he says is, I am Groot. Even when he's facing that dilemma, he's like, I am Groot. I love it. I can't explain why I love it, but it's so silly, it works, and I love that. And when he frees the other members of the Guardians, they're like, yeah, you are, and I love it. Now, Star-Lord's father, the King of Spartax. Now, my student, Chris, he said, dude's a dick, and he's right. Yeah, he is a dick. I'll even go further. He's a dickhead. But it's like even the rest of the council that he assembled, even some of the other members are saying stuff like, is it just me, or is he trying to act like he's the king of all of us? And Gladiator's one of those people who says that. Well, he agrees to that. And everybody's calling out, and the king is calling out the Badoons, because they're the ones that invaded the Earth, that got the Guardians arrested to begin with and all that shit. But basically all this is focusing on the fact that the King of Spartax is a first-class, 100% uncut dickhead. And he doesn't care. He really doesn't care. He's so goddamn arrogant, it's almost funny. And we get some really good action from the Guardians in here. Tony Stark has to fight without his armor, so Rocket gives him a gun. He's like, you know what to do with this, don't you? He's like, yeah. He said, point it at anybody that isn't us and shoot. And I love Rocket Raccoon. I understand Marvel's gonna smother him all over the place like they did Deadpool a few years ago. But for now, I'm loving it. And, of course, Gamora. Oh, yeah. Green chicks are cool. Love this stuff. And I loved the ending. The ending, figuratively. The ending was nothing more than Star-Lord telling his dad, fuck you. I just loved it. This is great stuff. Can't get enough of this. Do yourself a favor. Get on. It's not too late. Get on board with this series. Get the back issues. Get on board. You won't regret it. This came damn close to being my pick of the week. If but something beat it out, and I'll get to it when I get to it. Alright, moving along, we got Venom number 36, Cullen Bunn, and let me see if I can get the artist's name right. Pepe Larraz. Okay, hope I didn't butcher that name. Like I say, I do like that cover. It's simple, like the title of this issue. And I guess doing a simple cover like that, I guess it was intentional. So that's why I think that's one of the reasons why I liked it so much. And it's a firm representation of what you read in the story, on what you read in the book. You know, it's basically a simple day in the life of Flash Thompson as Venom. You know, he's, get up, go to work at the school, teach some kids, and then when you get off work, then go do your second job and patrol the streets as Venom. Now, this is the Venom storytelling that I like. I like the street stories. You know, Venom fighting crime on the streets in the cities and everything, underground crime, organized crime, or simple thugs. I am not missing the hell stories at all. They can stay gone for all I care. But Cullen Bunn is still nailing it here. He's doing a fantastic job. I love the dilemma that Flash may have ran into on his day job at school, because while on the job, he notices a bully in the school picking on the geeks of the school, and Flash looks at him and thinks to himself, I got to do something about this, because that's what I once was. He looks at this bully. I can't remember his name either. Let me look it up. Darius. Yeah, he looks at this bully and he just sees what he once was when he was in high school, and he deals with that, but he might have gotten caught by somebody, and I'm not going to ruin who that was. And on his second job as Agent Venom, he's going around tracking a guy, the Lord Ogre. And probably the geek out moment for me was the Venommobile. I looked at that, I went, holy shit, he could do that? Fucking A, I love that. The Venommobile. I'm surprised Chris didn't point it out, or maybe he did, I don't know. I watched his review, and I honestly don't remember if he talked about the Venommobile or not, but I asked him about it, and I was like, I want to hear y'all's thoughts on that. What did y'all think of the Venommobile? And the ending of the book was really kind of, we find out what this dude's really about in crime, and Flash just says, when it comes to dealing with monsters like that, he says, nothing's simple anymore. Oh, the ending was it wasn't a dun-dun-dun kind of ending. It was one of those, shit. One of those kinds of moments, This was really, really fun. I dug this. It had drama, it had comedy, it had action, it had everything I wanted in a Venom comic book. It was a fun read. I really enjoyed it. I geeked the hell out for the Venommobile, and I hope y'all did too. This was good. Alright, we're closing off Marvel with Wolverine and the X-Men, number 31, Jason Aaron, Nick Bradshaw. This is part 1 of the Hellfire Saga. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? This particular issue of Wolverine and the X-Men was, at best. My favorite part, I'm such a dude. My favorite part of the book was seeing Mystique in a sexy teacher outfit. That's my favorite part of the book. I am such a dude. But all this was introducing us readers to the Hellfire Academy, telling us who's teaching what and how strict the rules are, and how much of a how much of a bastard everybody is there at the school. We get a tease from Wolverine at some point in here that he's contemplating on closing down the Jean Grey School, which we know is bullshit. So, this issue was okay. Like I said, the best thing about this issue was seeing Mystique as a sexy teacher. That's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad book. Nothing really truly wowed me about it. Yeah. Not even the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger, I went, and I read the book, and then I looked at the cliffhanger. I was just like, okay, and then I put the book down. All right, now we're going on to DC Pick of the Week. I am a fanboy. Goddamn right. Pick of the Week goes to Batgirl number 21. Gail Simone. Damn straight. I love this woman. I love her writing. Her talent. And her thought process on how she wants the characters to be done. It is so magnificently done. This series has continued ever since Death of the Family with the Joker and everything. This series has continued to stay really dark. I mean, when you think of, Barbara Green, you think of Batgirl, you're thinking there's got to be a lot of comedy in it, or touches of comedy like there was sometimes in Stephanie Brown's run, which was great. Brian Q. Miller's run with Stephanie Brown's Batgirl, that is an awesome run. I love it. I still miss Stephanie Brown. But with Barbara Gordon here, with Gail Simone writing this, I mean, she knows what the hell she's doing. This was probably some of the darkest ventriloquist stuff I've ever seen with this new ventriloquist. Now we learn here that she does indeed have powers. She can actually manipulate and animate corpses. I'm going to go ahead and give that away. She can make corpses move like puppets and make them be her new puppets. And it's really seeing Batgirl taking on dead bodies in an actual fight. They're not zombies. They're just moving. They're just dead bodies that are moving and being controlled like puppets. But seeing Batgirl fight these dead bodies is really kind of disturbing, especially what Barbara does to them during the fight. And it's just, damn. Now the book begins with a really depressing phone call between her and Dick Nightwing. And we get a little hint that there may have indeed been a romance between the two of them in the past. And I'm hoping we get more elaborate details on how that actually went in the New 52 universe. Because in the prior universe, they came damn close to getting married. So I'd like to know what their relationship was like in this universe. Maybe Gail will focus a little more on that in the future. But, it's like, Barbara cut the bat symbol off the costume because she feels like she's not worthy of holding it because she thinks she killed her brother. Which is where I found the one and only flaw with this character. She's a detective. She ought to know if there's no body, then he's obviously not dead. Look, Gail, I love you, but Barbara would have. I really honestly feel Barbara would have known that James Jr. is not dead because she saw him fall in the water, but there was never a body found. I don't know, but that was then. This is now. But this was just really dark, and I also got a little bit of a laugh out of the fact that the dummies proved a more formidable foe than the ventriloquist herself in here. And it's just like, she's running up toward Barbara, and she's like, I'm gonna kill you, and she's like, all these threats, like, we'll rip your eyes out, and stuff like that, and Barbara just turns around and just goes, whap. Good luck with that. The way the panel was drawn, it almost kind of looks like Barbara just put her fist up and the ventriloquist simply ran into it. It was just so damn funny. I know it was meant to be serious, but I just couldn't help but laugh at the way it was drawn. It didn't. I know it was meant for her to look like she was turning around and throwing a swing, but it just looked like she was just like, bow. I thought that's what it looked like, and it ends on a laugh. And I'm not going to ruin what the ending was. Why should I? I pretty much ruined everything else, but I think it personally ended on a laugh. The storytelling in the main part of it was very dark and very disturbing, and I thought it was really, really, really gripping, and I loved it. This is great stuff from Gail Simone, and I've talked about it way too much. It's time to move on. Moving on to Batman number 21, part 1 of Zero Year. I will agree with my student. Why do we have to yet again go through Batman's origin? How many times does his origin have to be repeated, tweaked, twisted, or even mentioned? We know what it is. Kid comes out of a theater with his parents, they get shot, he becomes Batman. Boom, there you go. That's all you really need. Batman's origin is probably up there on par with retellings and reminders and everything with Spider-Man's origin. Kid gets bit by a radioactive spider, loses his uncle due to a misunderstanding. He realizes he has to be responsible, so he's going to be a hero. Boom, there you go. And I also have to agree with Chris on another thing here. This is kind of borrowing some points from Batman Begins. Bruce Wayne has been... This is the beginning of Bruce Wayne coming back to Gotham. He hasn't become Batman yet. He's like declared legally dead. My biggest problem with the book is that Bruce was really immature when he started this whole thing. Or at least he appeared immature. Because there was something in here that he did that really bugged the hell out of me. He thwarts a crime from the Red Hood. And he does this. He comes out of the water and flips him the bird. Is that really something Batman or Bruce Wayne would... Is that something Batman would do? Is that something Bruce Wayne would do? This proves the point that he was a rookie. Because Batman nowadays would never do something that childish. He would, thwart a crime and then disappear. He wouldn't stick around and go, ha 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 ha, I beat you, ha ha. He wouldn't do something like that. To see Batman, even if he is Bruce Wayne, it don't matter to me. To see him do something like that, it just looks so out of character. He's trying to be a swifty, stealthy vigilante. You don't do something like that. It just looks so childish. And the rest of it, is we get a reveal that Bruce has an uncle on his mother's side. And I also agree with Chris on this. We heard his Uncle Philip's last name, Kane. And I'm thinking to myself, really, DC? You're going to go there. Are you going to tell us that Batwoman is actually related to Bruce? Please. I don't know. I don't know if that would work. Or if that's just them being lazy, saying, oh, we can't think of a name to give him. Kane. Yeah, go. Yeah, Really? I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. I'm really not buying it. I mean, it's like, okay, he's got an uncle. Who knows how many other family members he's got that we don't know about? But what's really the point? Just to tweak his origin even more? Why? I just feel like we should be getting new stories. Why do we have to keep going backward? Why do we have to keep going back to before he became Batman and tweaking things? Not to mention the big reveal at the end of the first story with a certain legendary Batman rogue that I'm not going to spoil. The second story is basically tells the story of how Bruce learned to drive so well and everything. That story was okay, but overall I really didn't particularly care for it. don't get me wrong. This issue was pretty good. I did like the artwork, the storytelling for what it was worth. It was paced very well. It's just I just don't feel like it's really at all necessary to go back and tweak Bruce's origin even more than it already has been. Why bother? Focus on the now and beyond. Don't keep going backward just to tweak it a little bit to make a quick buck. It just reeks of sellout to me. It's just like, can't think of anything new. Let's just go backward. Alright, moving on. We got Green Lantern Corps number 21. Monsters Among Them. Robert Venditti, Van Jensen, Bernard Chang. This is the debut issue of the new creative team for Green Lantern Corps. And I must say, as a new beginning for this series, I actually enjoyed this. This was good. Excuse me. I gotta say though, I do like that cover too. That is really good. Although John Stewart kind of looks like he's 18. He kind of looks like a young teenager to me. They made him look a little too young. But one of the main focuses on here is John Stewart's current relationship with Fatality of the Star Sapphires, and John Stewart's unfortunate inability to say "I love you." And they come across some villains that are not registered in their data files for the Green Lantern Corps and everything. We also get to see, now if you read the issue 21 of Green Lantern, you saw how Hal Jordan sent out a bunch of rings to go find some new recruits. And in here, we get to see where those recruits came from. But in all honesty, the choices that these rings made were kind of questionable to me, especially in the situations that one of the rings chose a cold-blooded killer. One of the rings chose an outcast who shied himself away from all of society. One ring chose a mother that was, when the ring chose her, it tore her away from her child. It was just really odd to see how these rings chose these new bearers, and to see who they were and where they came from. It felt a little odd to me. But who knows, maybe it will make for some good storytelling on down the line. But for now, it just really struck me odd. This issue was really good for what it was. I enjoyed it. I really don't have any real major complaints about it. But one thing I will say, the ending of the book was kind of, what? You know, it's like these villains that John and Yura tracked down, they're shapeshifters, and then finally at the end of the issue we get to see what they really look like, and I'm just like, huh. This was good. I did enjoy it. I didn't think it was perfect. It had its flaws to me, but overall, I did enjoy reading it. Moving on. Suicide Squad number 21. Meet the new Warden of Belle Reve, Harley Quinn. You know what? I'm over it now. I'm digging Harley Quinn's new look. Because when you read the stories and you read her character, it's still the same Harley Quinn that we've always known and loved. In fact, she's a little bit crazier and a little bit more homicidal, excuse me. And it's so well done. I'll always appreciate seeing a story focus on Harley as the main focus, and it was really, really good. We get to see Harley go batshit crazy. She's able to, outthink Amanda Waller to the point where she actually takes her hostage and everything. It really paints a picture that maybe Harley isn't as dumb as most people take her for, and it was so refreshing to see that. She even gets by the unknown soldier, which I'm sure probably surprised a lot of people. Deadshot was done really well in here. But, you know, like I said, the main focus was Harley Quinn, and she has a standoff with James Gordon Jr. in here, and it's like, she's like, oh, the commissioner's loony boy, or something like that. Oh, God, that was cute. And, I don't want to ruin hardly anything else about the book, but all I will say is that this was a very enjoyable read. I got a kick out of it. I've always loved Harley Quinn. I'm pretty sure my girlfriend would have loved to have read this, because Harley Quinn's one of her all-time favorite characters. But I will say, Alice Cott, I hope I pronounced that name right, really knows how to write certain characters in here. But one thing I will not ruin is the cliffhanger. Whoa. 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 I'll give you a clue. The cliffhanger, I'll say this. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Figure it out. Pick this book up and give it a read. I think it'd be worth your time. Unfortunately, we're going to end it on this. Huntress and Power Girl is World's Finest number 13. Paul Levitz, Robson Roca. Look. Excuse me. Like, I'll agree with Chris. I don't really care what Power Girl wears. As long as the character remains intact, I don't really care. Okay, yay, she's got the boob window back. We can look at her boobs again. I'm like, whatever. Now, I know Paul Levitz probably wants to stay on this book because he was one of the people who created Huntress and everything, but seriously, DC, get a new writer on this book. This book was kinda at best for me. Power Girl thinks she might be getting weaker because she's not on her home Earth or whatever. I'm like, whatever. And Helena has a safe house that belongs to her dad, even though it's not her Earth, and even though Bruce would probably notice that amount of money being missing from his account or something like that. It's just nonsensical shit all over the place. It's like these two are probably two of the worst espionage workers I've ever seen. You know, Helena tries to be stealthy, but at the same time she can't keep quiet, and she also keeps getting caught a lot, and Power Girl is just fist, fist, bang, bang, smash, smash a lot too. And the only thing that really saved this book was Desaad, the villain from Apocalypse. Now, they're hinting at that he might not be from our Apocalypse. He may be from Apocalypse from Earth 2 or whatever. But I will say this. Desaad in here is developed very, very well as a villain. He is the character that saved this issue. Otherwise, I would have just tossed this book and said it was shit. God, I swear. I mean, we get some one-liners here and there from Karen and Helena, but it's just not enough to save them. It's just their big adventure in this issue is fighting a giant dog. Yippee! They can beat up a giant dog. That's it. Sometimes I honestly don't know why I'm still on board with this series, because the past few issues have really just been okay at best, or an average read at best. Like I said, Desaad was the only thing that saved this issue from being absolute crap. I'm going to stick with it and try to be patient, but I'm going to be dead serious here. If this series doesn't pick up very soon, or if DC will not have the spine to put a different writer on here, then I may have to drop this from my pull list and say I'm just flat out done. Because I ain't rich. I can barely afford to pick up what I got now, but at the same time, I want to stay loyal to these characters. But if nothing's done to spruce up the stories, then I'm going to have to call it quits on a couple of series and say I'm done. Alright. Well, that's all I got for this week's review, everybody. Don't forget my main channel, Blugoblin01. That's where I do my Midtown Comic Stash reviews. Don't forget about my student, TheMtVernonKid. Everybody at Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. Follow them on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter or on Tumblr. Thanks for watching, everybody. And until next time, I'll see you all later.